Cool.
Hello everyone, here's our big discussion review of not only Avengers Infinity War, but the MCU. And I want to ask a question. When are we allowed to feel nostalgic? It's been 10 years since Iron Man came out.
I think you can feel nostalgic for Iron Man if it's been like 10 years since.
Yeah, man.
It's been like, I was 9 years old and my mom was talking about, and I saw it with my mom and my sister, I think.
Yeah, same.
It's how you, because also I think 2008 for me anyway was, it was a very defining part of, I feel, our sort of generation.
Yes.
I mean, had a kind of, what were we like, all
I was playing Metal Gear Solid 4.
Yeah, we were all 8 or 9 or something like that.
I was 10.
Yeah, I was 10. That sort of age, you know what I mean? So when you have that and films like The Dark Knight, I feel like, especially at that age, they very much they put an impression out on you, what I mean? So I feel like, and then to realise that was 10 years ago, I mean, for me, I was like, Jesus.
It's weird. Wait, just fix this for a little bit.
Yeah, but just weird.
Sorry.
It's fine, man. But,
is everyone in frame?
Yeah.
Everyone's frame. Alright,
but,
sorry. Actually, I remember seeing it, and it was a really good fun at that time. And that's when the MCU movies were still movies, and it wasn't just building up those.
That's the thing. I always think that's the thing which the MCU have gotten right, where especially in the early days was that they focused on making a good Iron Man movie, whilst things like DC and the Dark Universe have also trying to set that all up.
I've seen now. Speaking of universes, now these are everywhere. Legendary Pictures is now working on the Kaiju series with with Kong Skull Island and the Godzilla.
So ridiculous.
Yeah.
Next year we're gonna get a Godzilla King of Monsters with King Ghidorah and and even
the original Japanese version is vastly superior.
and eventually we're gonna get a Godzilla versus King Kong remake.
Godzilla versus Kong, Dawn of Justice.
Godzilla versus King Kong 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
Can Hollywood just have some fucking originality, please? That would be nice.
Something that I am but I will make a case that if you want to build universes, you have to make a standalone chapter work. Something that does this really well is The Conjuring. Now, even that's building a universe with the Annabelle movies. There's the Conjuring ones. There's the upcoming The Nun later this year.
Oh, okay.
If you've seen Annabelle Creation, not spoilers here, but the way it does franchise building while telling its own story, Annabelle Creation, it's perfect. That's my definitive. I will talk about it another time. But I think I'm all for universes if they know how to do it right. The Dark Universe failed at it.
It just rushed it.
It was barely even in Egypt.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't even in Egypt.
It wasn't really even a mummy movie.
It's just you have all the rights to these classic movie monsters and you just fuck it up. That's universal.
And it's a pity. I remember watching I think it was a Nostalgia Critic thing about it. This was before all of that. They were saying how it's a shame because in a way Universal were one of the first to do that shared universe thing. They were, if anything, they were the pioneers of it originally.
And Marvel had now fully mastered it. We're getting Inhumans, Cloak and Dagger, Runaways.
Alright, cool.
The Inhumans TV show is awful.
Oh, I hear it. But now there's the Luke Cage season 2. I'm gonna start watching Jessica Jones season 2 soon.
Oh yeah.
I'm on a marathon for all of these.
Those actually.
And you have got the Runaways. Hell, even the X-Men are doing this now with Legion and.
They're doing the Younger Mutants as a TV show.
Young Mutants, and they're also gonna have
what's the one with that?
The New Mutants, the horror version.
The horror one.
The Dark Phoenix saga is getting another shot.
Indeed.
We'll see.
Yeah, that should be pretty cool.
New Mutants was a cool series from the comics. The X-Men constantly in the 80s tried to have young characters to exploit demographics. They have Power Pack,
of course,
and they had the young the New Mutants and the X-Force.
Oh, you want to talk about exploitation? Now we're gonna get Teen Titans go to the movies.
I genuinely think I saw the trailer for that.
It looks.
It might legit be one of the better DC movies. That's the terrifying thing.
Let's hope.
It looks really good.
I mean, when you get Nicolas Cage to be Superman.
Nicolas Cage is Superman. Oh, that's brilliant.
Superman. At least she's getting through it somehow.
Well, that's like how in one of the Lego Batman movies, they finally got Billy D. Williams to play Two-Face after appearing as Harvey Dent in 1989. At last, they finally did what Tim Burton wanted to do. I love that shit. No, that's great.
Alright, well, that's like this nostalgic thing that we're gonna have, and
Yeah.
this universe thing really is kind of cashing in. Right? Even The Conjuring is, as I hear, is kind of a throwback to the Ghost House movies.
Yeah.
And even like, let's look at the Annabelle duology, and now it's gonna be a trilogy soon. But even that's kind of like what doll movies are scary again. The non-movies coming back. This is really cashing in on nostalgia.
Yeah, well,
But-
I mean, and that's not always a bad thing because, like, I'm always of the opinion that most what we call originality is usually deriving from something before it. Like, for example, and this isn't the best example because it's a terrible film, but Stephen King's Dreamcatcher. As an example, that was inspired by Stephen King wanted to do for the toilet what Psycho wanted to do for the shower. I'm not saying that's a good example of it going well, but if you look at most art and stuff, generally, it usually is always inspired by previous stuff.
See, if they ever make a Stephen King multiverse,
I think they tried to do that with Dark Tower.
would
Yeah.
fail
But
miserably.
that movie fucking sucks.
Yeah, but that's the thing though, it's like, I feel like, so I think it's more what you do with the previous stuff that makes it original.
I'm open to all of this if it's done right.
Yeah.
That's what like this MCU. It genuinely, it's really interesting to see how from the 90s there were like these huge low budget misfires of Marvel, and now they're printing.
That's
money.
what I love. How kind of it's almost swapped. Because to be honest, before Blade, I'd say it was predominantly DC films, like because obviously there was Superman and Batman, and I can't really think of any Marvel films that did well.
Wonder Woman had a TV show.
Well, there you go. It's all DC.
Linda Carter.
See, it's all DC.
Why didn't she cameo in Wonder Woman?
Yeah.
That would have been actually kind of cool.
And then now, like, Marvel's done so well, with X-Men and then with the MCU, and now DC are a bit like, all right, shit. So the Dark Knight's been finished. Okay, let's try and catch on up to this.
And now Sony is trying to get their own share of executing an old Spider-Man universe. Apparently that's supposed to be in line with Homecoming. I don't know. We'll see.
It's crazy to think how Marvel in like the 90s were almost bankrupt and had to sell off like their prime IPs to Fox and Sony. And then 10 years later, like they're making Iron Man and the Hulk.
Yeah.
Or like 10 years plus later, like they're making Iron Man and the Hulk and just printing money.
Yeah, like there's like the early 2000s was such a there was Ang Lee's Hulk.
Oh yeah, and everyone also now forgets about Sam Raimi's or how you pronounce it.
Sam Raimi.
You can say his Spider-Man films as well. Like
not really.
It's kind of, I feel like with the Dark Knight, it's kind of a shame how I'm not saying they're forgotten. I'm saying as in the way of they've almost been in a way by the company swept aside in a bit of a okay, we've done them, now we're going to do our extended universe version.
Spider-Man 1 is actually like it was great when you were like a kid, but
I haven't watched them for ages.
When you go back and look at them as like an adult, Spider-Man 2 is actually pretty good, but like 1 really doesn't hold up the way you want it to.
Oh, fair enough.
And then Spider-Man 3 is Spider-Man 3.
I do love Spider-Man 2, that's a good one. But again though, I was thinking just because we were talking about nostalgia and stuff, and it's like, I feel like the reason we've got to remember about why those sort of films had an impact was because we say 10 years, but remember that's about half of our lifetime.
That's
so
it's like when we're kind of going through that period where we're allowed to feel nostalgic about stuff.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing some stuff.
Yeah.
That's about nostalgia. What about the MCU as a whole? What was your journey throughout the years?
First one I saw was Iron Man.
Me too.
I would say, I must admit I haven't watched them all because some didn't appeal and some from what I've gathered weren't as good as others. I never really...
I've yet to see The Incredible Hulk.
That one's alright.
It's not great. I haven't watched When It Sold all the way through.
Yeah, see that's quite good.
That's a pretty good film though.
I think I've never really melded with the Thor films, I must admit. I feel like
Ragnarok's really fun.
See, I did like Ragnarok.
Ragnarok's alright.
I didn't like it. I felt like it was trying to be like, you know how the Avengers, and this is what I do feel like the MCU films are starting to do a little bit. The Avengers got that perfect mix of that very Whedon thing of that funny little quips and stuff, but not too much. It was also serious when it needed to be. I'm worried that they're starting to focus too much on the humour. And I feel like that is what happens when you get the director of What We Do in the Shadows to do your movie. However, I was watching it.
It feels that was my problem with Thor Ragnarok. It's for a movie that's supposed to be about the destruction of like Asgard and stuff like that. I just don't feel an emotional impact. It's because it's so busy telling a joke every 10 minutes.
And I was watching it, and literally, firstly, I felt it was going from like set piece to set piece to set piece, and all the action was like was almost delayed to tell another joke between Thor and Hulk.
Here's the thing though, like, as someone who has read Marvel comics pretty much most of my life, that's pretty much consistent with what they do in the comics, like from the 60s to now. Marvel comics have always been more about like the humour.
But I feel like you need to balance that.
Some characters. But even like in like a Jack Kirby comic, for instance, you'd have a scene of like a joke, and then someone's home planet would get destroyed, and then later on they kept doing that.
But again, I do think you've got to bear in mind that again, it's all about the balance, and also because like I said, that's been done very well in some movies, but I just didn't think they did it as well.
They did it well in Infinity War.
Infinity War.
Infinity War they did it
was pretty good, but I also think it did in Ragnarok personally.
My like short synopsis of the MCU, I have yet to see Incredible Hulk yet, but overall all of them give me something really fun to enjoy. Even like the weaker ones like Iron Man 2 or Iron Man 3. I love Shane Black. Can't wait for the Predator. But yes, they had their low highs and lows, but I think it's really good that we're consistently talking about them, and they really defied like filmmaking in the past 10 years. And it's really good to see all of this like big stuff coming up. Look at all the TV shows with like the darker characters like Daredevil.
True.
I've never heard of Jessica Jones, and now everyone loves her.
Well, that's what I was gonna say about Iron Man actually. How, and I know he was a famous Marvel character, obviously, but as someone like, for me, I knew of him, but I didn't really know, because like I like comics, but I wasn't the biggest fan. As in, I just didn't really read them too much. And so to have within Iron Man coming out, to immediately know who Tony Stark was and immediately know his story, I think says a lot for that film.
Even like these like minor characters are everywhere now.
It's really Guardians of the Galaxy.
Like
perfect example.
Like apparently, like it's for me as someone who is kind of a directorial guy, I like to compare the different directorial styles. There's a Taika Waititi, there's Scott Derrickson, there's Shane Black, there's Peyton Reed, like all of these like different directorial styles that are in the Marvel universe. Even Jon Favreau, bless him. Like it's really good to see this.
I always say,
poor Josh Whedon.
I always say it's a testimony to a film, because that's the thing. I remember that there used to be a phase. I was reading about this. Used to be a phase it was around sort of late 90s, early 2000s, where it was a thing of like, they didn't know how, they were worried, they were actually quite skeptical about sort of fantasy films. It was before Lord of the Rings, really, because they were a bit like, they didn't know how to basically introduce these like worlds to people, because they thought, we need to, no one's going to know who they are or whatever, which is what they had with Guardians of the Galaxy. So I think the Marvel films and a lot of these fantasy films and stuff like Harry Potter or whatever, it's a testimony to good writing and directing that you're able to take these obscure characters which have no previous canon or anything, no previous originals to look for, and by themselves just make them popular. It shows you don't need a previous thing for it to be popular. It can just be popular within itself, because it's good.
Yeah, the MCU really is something that's really fun, and throughout the years it was kind of good to like grow up on them and anticipate this one and be really
post-credit scenes, classic.
By the way, let's talk about that just quickly. The post-credit scene in this, or not in Infinity War, but like now we've become so numb to it that I remember when I saw Logan and people were staying in the cinema, and then after the whole movie and there was no post-credit scene, everyone was like,
that's another thing, isn't it? Like, I would say, I think the first post-credit scene I genuinely remember is the one with the Hulk. There's one there, which because I don't know the chronology, but I don't know, was it Iron Man then the Hulk?
Yeah.
See, so that was the first one. I think like Tony Stark's in it very briefly at the end or whatever, but no, that was the first time I was probably like, oh right, so they're going to start linking these together, and it got me excited, but no, now it's almost become the norm, which is interesting actually.
When the first time I really recognized that there are these multiple characters coming together was when I saw Captain America: First Avenger.
Yeah, of course.
And minor spoilers, the way it ends,
Nick Fury. It's an old film.
but it's really good. If I have to rank some of my like top 5 ones, I'd definitely say Avengers, the first one. I would also go as far as say maybe the first Iron Man. I do like the Captain America trilogy. I do like all three of them.
Yeah. Age of Ultron?
Yeah. Watch definitely one of the better ones. I also really like Doctor Strange.
Okay, that's fair enough.
And pretty much, I hope Ant-Man 2 is gonna be great because that looks really interesting to me. That's kind of my thing of the MCU as a whole.
No, that's cool, man.
You?
No, yeah, I mean, I can't remember. I can't say obviously I haven't watched them all and stuff, but no, I'd say generally the I haven't watched the first Captain America, but yeah, like Civil War and Age of Ultron, and like to be honest, I still almost, this is probably a bit controversial, but I kind of consider Captain America: Civil War to be an Avengers movie, to be honest.
Yes,
what's the real difference between that and in terms of who's involved? Because you could say, oh, Captain America's the main person. It's like, is he like? I know it's So I'd probably go, all of the, I'm going to call it an Avengers film, so all 4 Avengers films, and probably the first Iron Man film, and Guardians, I'd say, because that's just, it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah.
So
I'm probably leaving some out, but,
So to get to the film itself, spoiler-free section first. Overall, really entertaining, really delivered.
It's good.
It really does something that some of the MCU movies haven't done in a while. A really strong emotional punch, and it's to really sum up like my short thoughts on it. It may be uneven, it may be over long at times, but my God, it doesn't entertain. And at the end of it, you really feel like this is really paid off. It really touched me. There were I've seen it twice by now, and when I first saw it, there were genuine moments of like where I was really touched, and there were like I even got teary-eyed at a couple of scenes. It really sort of hit me in that once. At times, I felt like I was watching a modern equivalent of those huge epic tales that like they made in the 1950s. Didn't this ever go? You're watching such a big film and a big experience, and it's so well done and it's so entertaining, and the cast is. We're going to talk about the cast individually in a second, but it is. I gotta say that I really got one of those. This may not be my favorite MCU movie, but it is the most affecting.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll give it like an 8 out of 10. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, same 8 out of 10. Like a bigger thoughts of it.
I mean, I had like 1 or 2 things. Like the runtime was like a little too much, but overall, like the ending worked really well. It was cool just seeing like the universe finally tied together.
Yes.
It was cool just seeing Thanos not in a post-credit scene. And the only problem I have with this is just I never liked Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow.
Oh yeah.
I would have because they had like so many better casting choices than her.
Oh, what would you have gone with?
Literally, Emily Blunt was supposed to do it.
Oh, okay.
And then she got pregnant.
That actually sounds really awesome.
She would have been so much better. Scarlett Johansson just seems fucking bored and unemotional in like every scene.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Well, and what did you?
I thought that I thought it was good. It was. I was expecting it to be a little bit kind of messy in parts because I feel like Lord of the Rings and films like that, some films like that being the exception, when you have so many characters, I think I said to you before, it can get a bit lost in what's happening where. So and that happened, but I was expecting that almost. Yeah. So I wasn't too disappointed by that. I felt there were good emotional moments, but I would say, I mean obviously we're yet to see what they do, but with the second one, but I was a bit annoyed that it's going to be a 2-parter because I felt like some of the things in it, like some of the big battles, almost looked like things you would expect in the second part as the conclusion, like the battle in Wakanda. And I felt a little bit like, in my head I was like, this is going great, but it's a 2-parter, so clearly we've got to wait on what's going to happen kind of thing. But no, overall, like you were saying, I loved how the universe was finally tied together, and I loved how, I loved seeing certain characters come, meet up and stuff and talk, and, overall it's good though.
It is, to talk about, I really much heavily agree.
I'd give it probably about 7.5 out of 10, but that's just me.
But so we're really kind of recommending it to
if you're
into MCU, definitely see it.
If you don't watch it, there's no point watching the other ones.
To talk some spoiler-free parts the cast in this, some of them honestly really grow into their characters. Like it's really good to see like these like really good casting choices. Well, maybe you said something about Black Widow, obviously, but it's really good to see, even if that wasn't maybe your ideal choice for a certain role. It's still really good to see all these actors that really embody these characters. Even like in the MCU shows, like it's really good to see Charlie. What's his name? Charlie. Daredevil.
Yeah, Daredevil wasn't it too.
Oh right, yeah.
Like him as Daredevil, or Jessica Ritter as Jessica Jones.
Yeah, Kristen Ritter.
Kristen Ritter, sorry. And here, like, honestly, like in the future, I'm genuinely going to be surprised if like in the future they ever going to find someone else like Robert Downey Jr. for Iron Man.
I'm almost convinced they're going to end up having to do something like a Logan, where because or something, just because I feel like I can't imagine. Yeah, because that's the thing. Like you've seen this guy like grow old. That's the thing. And grow and expand and stuff. And I'm a bit like, it's almost a bit of a Hugh Jackman with Wolverine, which I know you have your doubts about.
I liked him in Logan.
See, and I just think like, I genuinely almost thought that like Iron Man 3 was gonna be his Logan. How they portrayed it in the trailers and stuff. And obviously I watched it. I was like, oh right, it wasn't. But yeah, I feel like it's interesting watching these characters kind of mature and develop, and seeing Tony Stark's arc where he goes from this irresponsible billionaire playboy to like
even bigger responsible.
But I don't disagree, because he's now become by Infinity Wars he's become this genuine responsible, like feels he has that responsibility to protect the Earth, which is what the film ends up being mostly about, his conflict with others, because it's ironic he actually ends up being the one who, at least at first, is actually taking it seriously in a way, I feel like it is.
And that's just about Robert Downey Jr. I more and more love Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk.
Yeah, he's been given more time, because obviously he didn't play him in the Hulk, the film.
Edward Norton.
So I feel like they've really made the most of his time.
Really made this. I really go into really like this guy. He's a really good actor. Yeah. If anything, there's one thing I don't like, and this is because of Thor Ragnarok, they added something to Hulk that I just felt like was a little out of nowhere.
Ooh, what's that?
Well, it's like the fact that Hulk barely spoke in the early MCU entries, and in Thor Ragnarok he could talk.
Oh yeah, he could, couldn't he?
Yeah, that's true. And that's just
also his size has changed.
And his face has changed.
Yeah, they've made him bigger.
Yeah.
And they've made him more like the comic book Hulk.
Some of the designs really did change throughout time here. But and even these I'm more and more going to like Tom Holland as Spider-Man.
I like him from Homecoming.
I haven't seen Homecoming. Is it good?
Yeah, it's good. It's the best Spider-Man movie ever.
Really?
Yeah.
He does a really good job as Spider-Man. I grow to like him more and more and more. To me, the best Spider-Man movie, me personally, will always be Spider-Man 2. But this kid is really slow to really grow on me, and she does a really good job. And he has. Something I don't like one thing I don't like is that sometimes they portray way too, he's the millennial Spider-Man, and like minor joke spoiler, but there's no, I wouldn't spoil it here in the spoiler section.
No, I know what you're talking about.
But sometimes he just feels too modern.
That's like the point of Spider-Man in the comics, though, because remember he's supposed to be way younger than the rest of the Avengers, and they play that up. They've been playing that up. So
it is quite
part of the Avengers.
That's the thing. I actually. With the, not so much, that's the one thing I think I liked about the Amazing Spider-Man films, is that they made more of a point of him being young, whilst I feel like Tobey Maguire wasn't very convincing as a high school kid.
No, because he was like 27.
That's my point.
When he was fucking Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah,
so I always thought of him, to be honest, as an adult. I actually forgot he was a high school kid.
High school movies of the late 80s, 90s, and 2000s would really put a false image of what a teenager looks like.
Oh, yeah, and then I
everyone was pretty much actors in their 20s and even their 30s.
Yeah, that's the thing. So I felt like both with Tom Holland and with Andrew Garfield, as much as I know that those are films which have kind of been swept away, unfortunately, because I thought some of the bits of them were quite good.
Amazing Spider-Man 2 sucks donkey balls.
I liked some of it, but I think I thought anyway, I just felt that the one really good thing they did with that was that with Andrew Garfield they made him more convincing as a high school student.
He didn't even remind me of Peter Parker from the comics. Like, Andrew Garfield does not look like a kid who gets his face stuffed in a locker and gets swirlied every day.
That's true.
Tom Holland looks like that kid who gets beat up on. That's why he works.
Okay, fair enough.
And
so that's why when he's fucking Spider-Man, like, it has more power.
I do like a lot of the other castings here. Benedict Cumberbatch, I'm starting to like as Doctor Strange.
That's pretty cool.
I really like. Yes,
I was just gonna say, I just still find it surreal seeing him do an American accent. Like, because for me,
I've seen him do an American accent in a few other films.
I know, but I still find it surreal. Because for me, Benedict Cumberbatch is like the most the most perfect evil villain's British voice. Like with him in Star Trek Into Darkness, even when he's not playing a villain. But like for me at least in my head, so it's quite surreal. Anything whenever I see him doing an American
Personally,
film.
he wouldn't have been my first choice with Doctor Strange.
Who would you have had?
I literally would have just had Hank Azaria rolled with her.
Azaria?
Yeah, seriously.
That would have been great.
Oh my god. Actually sounds.
Just Hank Azaria with like a pencil moustache and would have been good. Or like a goatee, depends on which version you go for.
That would be amazing.
It sounds really awesome.
It was way too fucking old to do it by the time it came around.
I've seen Black Panther. And it's
that scene. I knew I'd forgotten a good Marvel film.
Chadwick Boseman is really like embodying this character.
Yeah.
Not the most. I have talked about this when I did a review for Black Panther, but I just felt like Chadwick Boseman is the most interesting character. He's really trying. He's acting his ass off, and he clearly does a great job. But like it's interesting how in Black Panther a lot of the other characters still show.
His accent isn't how I really imagined Black Panther's voice to be. Because from the comics, like Black Panther has like a degree from Oxford. So like I was thinking you'd have like an African sounding like English accent.
Okay.
Like it'd be really hard to pull off though. So I can stop seeing why it's quite specific. But it's not really like how if I read like a Black Panther comic or I read like an Avengers comic or something where like Black Panther's in it, it's not how I read T'Challa's lines in my head.
I would say though, I think he
because like his version sounds more like Nelson Mandela. Like I think that's like a genuinely intentional thing.
Maybe
that's what you can tell that they have the same.
But it's better. But I would say it's better than. I mean, it had the potential. I feel. I mean, to go down almost the Ugandan Knuckles route, which I'd like to.
Good thing it does not do that.
Fuck it, did.
That's my point. Yeah. But it could have easily done if they hadn't got an actor who could do a good accent. So I feel like it's very convincing in my opinion.
I think, and Black Panther world I really do find really fascinating. Wakanda is a really interesting place.
Yeah.
All of these worlds. In fact, that's something I love about the MCU. The whole world is so just cool, and every little.
That's just the Marvel comics in general.
I do like how they fleshed out and introduced stuff over time.
Chris Hemsworth, as I said before, I didn't like the character shifts Thor Ragnarok did. With it, I feel like he tries to be kind of like the cocky type of hero when they mix it in with like that Shakespearean-esque.
Chris Hemsworth is like the right look for Thor. Obviously, like he pretty much just looks like Thor from the comics, but he doesn't really have like the acting chops to like pull off some of the scenes. Like he can do the comedy okay, like he's fine at that, and I think that's what the directors have realised.
Yeah.
But when you actually have to have him do like more dramatic scenes, like he's not that good a dramatic actor. He's a better comedian than he is a dramatic actor. I think that's what the guy did Ragnarok realised.
Yeah, maybe. So maybe that explains then.
So that's why they tried to amp up the comedy big time.
Also,
some of the scenes in Invincible with him in them are actually fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah,
that's really funny.
When I watched it, I was like, okay, now this is the sort of shit I was looking for.
Some of the jokes in this are really funny. If you've been on the internet, you probably see some of them spoiled, but we're not spoiled here or anything now. But it's really well done. Guardians of the Galaxy to me is kind of a mixed bag. I love
the first one. I haven't really seen the second one.
The second one's pretty good. It's not as good as they almost never are, but it was good.
I do like the Guardians of the Galaxy characters. Just sometimes they kind of cross the line between dumb to like unbearably dumb.
I think that's kind of like their point though. I mean, that's why Star-Lord's such a lovable character.
I mean, they're gonna be
like he's not as smart as like a Tony Stark or like a Peter Parker or a Reed Richards. That's why or Beast. That's why he's a cool character.
Yeah.
He's just a done. He's just a dipshit in space. He's basically Friday from the Future, right?
I think it is quite. It's a nice thing when you have, because I would say there's been a problem with a lot of movies at the moment where they focus too much on people being like chosen ones or people having special skills.
Star Wars doesn't have any of those.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Which is why,
that's why he works.
It's why it works, because it's nice to have, almost a everyman kind of character. Which I'm not saying you don't have them in Marvel, but like someone who literally has no, like he's good at fighting, but has no like.
He's a combo of Han Solo and Fry from Futurama.
Yeah.
I like all these, like even the Guardians. I like Dave Bautista.
It's great.
I have yet to see his other stuff, whatever he was in.
He's in Spectre.
Yeah, he is.
But he is doing a really good job here.
Yeah,
he really and
because they're using great makeup like half the time as well.
And I like Mantis. She's really cute.
Yeah.
I like Mantis. Bradley. I'm still shocked that that's Bradley Cooper as Rocket. Can you imagine Bradley Cooper as Rocket?
It's a great piece of casting.
He does a really good job. I really like Rocket.
Yeah.
Gamora is an interesting thing for me. I like Zoe Saldana.
Yeah.
Hey,
she's a good like sci-fi.
Yeah, Star Trek, Avatar.
Exactly.
She's really good here. It's just his character sometimes they never really take full advantage of the fact that she's like this kind of like this type of character. It's not like that scene. Aside from that one scene in the first one, the pelvic sorcery joke in the first one.
But I mean, I like how they've actually fleshed her out in this movie with the whole
panel. They kind of kept that quite vague, which I don't know if that was a deliberate thing.
I think they were trying to have that as a big reveal.
Speaking of which, like to discuss some spoiler-free plot details. Thanos in this is amazing. I love Josh Brolin here, man.
Considering they've like drastically changed him from the comics, it's pretty cool. Because like the whole thing, like Thanos isn't this like guy who just believes in efficiency. He wants to destroy half the universe and like get the Infinity Stones to impress his lover Lady Death.
Yeah.
And pretty much just like controls him.
But I feel like that's a bit of they didn't want to get too much into the like comic mythos, because that's kind of tied in with shit like Deadpool, isn't it? Which they don't really.
Well, like that's only really later. Like if the Thanos became a character, I can't remember when Thanos was first created. It was created like around the 80s, and that's where you have the Stalin things like the Infinity Gauntlet and the Infinity War, and like they're gonna introduce the rest of the Marvel Cosmic Universe later on, and they're gonna have Adam Warlock, who's kind of like Thanos's, like he's the Batman, so Thanos's Joker, pretty much.
Okay. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. It depends. I'm not sure how much they're necessarily going to go into that or not. But no, I still think
I really like this film. I really enjoy this film, and Josh Brolin once again does a really good job.
I just want to see Adam Warlock and Howard the Duck team up.
That'd be pretty cool.
Howard the Duck is now canon in this.
Yeah, he's in it. Like,
he's in the universe.
I mean, Howard the Duck's actually a great comic. It's just a terrible fucking movie.
Yeah, we just recently saw it.
It's so funny because we were talking about the Hulk and his like size changing. Did you guys realise when we were watching it the other day how the Duck's size kept changing depending on whether it went from puppet to costume or whatever? You were literally like, hang on, what size is this guy meant to be? No.
Here, they got Seth Green to voice him in like the Guardians movies.
Oh really? That's Seth Green. That's
cool as hell.
Seth Green, and
that's actually a really good piece of casting.
By the way, Stallone doesn't appear back. Who was in Volume 2?
What's that all about?
Yes, Stallone is.
I think I just need all the 80s cameos.
Yeah, true.
I mean, the next thing would be if they got who's playing Punisher now? What's his name?
From
Netflix. John
Bernthal.
That's it.
Get all the other Punishers. Get Thomas Jane. Get Ray Stevenson. Get what's his name?
I do think Ray Stevenson would have made a really good Punisher.
Dolph Lundgren was the Punisher.
Dolph Lundgren. Get the other three and get them in like a battle. That would be amazing. It'd be like.
I mean, I genuinely thought
like the lamest Punisher.
Yeah, I genuinely thought that there was going to be a thing in the Batman vs Superman movie. I thought I would have loved it if there were like cameos from all the Batman actors, like in different things. So proper like George Clooney. I don't know if Adam West would have been. Was he alive when that came out? I don't know. But
I think that he died last year.
Yeah, so he would have been. Yeah, so yeah, Adam West. Like even Val Kilmer. And Michael Keaton. Proper like all of them.
Val Kilmer,
Oh yeah. Oh god, yeah. The one time fucking Batman probably smiles. That's. Oh.
Val Kilmer was such a miscast for Batman.
He didn't even read the script before.
But it's like he doesn't even look like Bruce Wayne. At least for the others, at least George Clooney looks like Bruce Wayne. Val Kilmer doesn't look like Bruce Wayne for shit.
I don't know, I'm not sure Michael Keaton looks too much.
He looks more like Bruce fucking Wayne than Val Kilmer.
Well, yes, but that's not saying.
He doesn't have the height, but he has the overall look.
No, I mean, I always say that controversial casting choices, Batman is the one reason why I love the original Batman is that it was one of those best examples of where a controversial casting choice ended up being a brilliant choice.
Batman in the comics, Michael Keaton doesn't really match the profile. Batman in the comics is 6'4".
Yeah,
Ben Affleck is.
But then I think if you take the essence of that character, it doesn't. I don't think necessarily the specifics of whether you're 6 foot or not.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're like a comic book fan, you're so used to studios just miscasting your favourite character and just fucking
I think sometimes they're not always that. Michael Keaton, I feel
Michael Keaton was great. It's my favourite
Batman. I came to really like Ben Affleck as Batman. I know he's a controversial character, but I think he really is trying. I think shit scripts.
I think Honest Trailers summed it up by being you expected him to be the worst thing of the film, but he ended up being one of the best things in the film. I would agree. Yeah, he was actually quite convincing as this older, angry Batman, which I'm really interested to see. I mean, God, when's that bloody Batman film coming out?
I don't know. I think
which he did direct and then didn't.
No, Matt Reeves is directing now.
Yeah,
he's still gonna star in it.
Matt Reeves, okay.
We'll see. With DCU, as I hear, we're gonna get Shazam next year.
Oh Christ!
We're gonna get dark and gritty Shazam, yeah, because
with Zachary Levi as Shazam.
Please do not villainize Shazam. The whole point about Shazam is he's supposed to be a light-hearted antidote to characters like Batman and Lobo. And the darker side of DCU.
Yeah. Well, that's from a horror director who previously made 2 horror films, so we'll see. But we'll see. There's Wonder Woman 2.
Are you going to turn Black Adam into an actual monster?
What's that?
Black Adam is Shazam.
Yeah, Black Adam. Yeah, he was originally supposed to be played by The Rock.
That would have actually been quite a good
and also there's Wonder Woman 2. Patty Jenkins is coming back.
I mean, Marvel has blown DC out of the water so much.
This is why I'm convinced that they need to I don't know if I've said this to you guys before, but I think they need to just do the most I think if I was the executive producer or whatever of DC Extended Universe at the moment, I would legitimately be okay guys, this isn't working. This, as in we've tried making this continuity and it's not going to work out. What we need to do is just go crazy.
DC should just stick to comics and animated movies.
Or just, that's the thing, but whilst we've got this, I think they need to go crazy. They need to do the most balls on the wall, insane live action DC films. Do the crazy parts of DC.
Yeah, Fourth World, Shazam.
Shazam. They need to do.
Lobo.
They may as well
They want to go the Logan 15-18 rated route.
They may as well cast bloody Mark Hamill as the Joker. Fuck it. Yeah, exactly. People say, oh, he's too old. Have an older Joker. They're already thinking of having Joaquin Phoenix as in a Joker weird Joker origin story thing. Why don't you just get Mark Hamill? They're about the same sort of
Joker
thing.
origin story is also a terrible idea.
Well, yeah, I just think just
unless you want to do the Killing Joke again.
Yeah, that's the thing.
You already fucked it up.
Literally, just do this shit. But firstly, before Mark Hamill dies, and just get it done because I feel that would be interesting. And since they've already fucked it up, they may as well just go crazy with it and have fun.
True.
Yeah, that's my thing. I just think,
you're
never gonna win. You may as well just do it.
All right. That's our spoiler-free thoughts on the film. Overall, we'd recommend seeing it if you haven't seen it already. It shattered every sales record. But yeah, overall, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Really entertaining. Got its problems, but it's definitely one. It's going to leave you with a strong emotional punch at the end. That's our spoiler-free thoughts. Final thoughts?
I pretty much agree with you of that, except. Apart from 1 or 2 scenes that didn't really need to be there, it's an 8 out of 10. It's a really fun action movie. If you like Marvel movies or comics in general, just go fucking see it, really.
Yeah, 7.5 because I felt generally what you guys were saying, but I felt maybe some of the stuff they used, I was expecting to more use in the second part. I was kind of a bit annoyed throughout it, thinking, yeah, but there has to be a second part. But overall, what they actually showed you as just a film within itself, really good. And I enjoyed it.
Okay, that's our spoiler-free thoughts. Go see it. Spoiler section.
Yeah.
So, my God, the ending.
Yes, the ending. This is
this was. Oh, it's just something
Yeah, this is the thing. Endings. I felt. Again, I just felt like the whole I felt that it was all this shit which was going to happen, and then I thought, well, okay, how are they going to end it? It's obviously going to go badly because the whole point of it is so you'd leave it on a cliffhanger, and then when it happened, I was a bit oh, okay, but kind of a shame because then always, how are they going to top this? This is
this genuinely was one of those endings that I was like, damn, they
yeah,
actually did this, and
half those characters though are going to come back somehow because obviously they've ordered. Firstly, either some characters haven't been ordered a sequel yet, but are probably going to get. Black Panther's going to get a sequel because because it's a spoiler. It's now the spoiler section. Because Black Panther died, I'm he's going to come back surely because surely they're gonna capitalize on the success of Black Panther. Spider-Man is going to come back because they've already ordered one.
They've penciled half these guys in for sequels.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm a little bit when I was watching this, I was it was sad, but in my head I was yeah, well, he's going to come back. He's going to come back.
What the fuck else are they going to do?
Well, yeah. So
a lot of the.
The one time I was genuinely oh my God, because I thought his arc has kind of come to an end and he was going to die, was Iron Man. So of when he just healed himself. It was when Thanos stabbed him, and I was and I was then oh my God, because I thought shit.
That was going to happen.
But they've been talking about how.
But then he healed himself and he's alright. So I was a little bit that could have been the one big death, and that could have really ended his arc and also ended his.
Yeah, some of the characters, Loki and Gamora dies in this.
Yes,
and
that
I'm
was.
And I honestly, those are the ones where I'm if they don't come back, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
I don't think they should. I feel if they bring her back, that will be a bit of a cop out.
I also think Tom Hiddleston is so busy with other stuff, and he's probably going to be James Bond somewhere down the line.
Well, what made me annoyed? That I will say again, what made me annoyed about the beginning, only because he died, and it's this time it's for real, but he's already died. So I'm a little bit it's a bit unrelated, but Doctor Who.
Yeah.
So Rory, when all that happened. So he died once, and then there were things about a character's going to die in this series. It's well, it's not going to be him because he's already died once. We'll be he'll just be brought back to life again. So I was a bit when Tom Hiddleston, when that happened, I was well, okay, is that the final one?
Yeah.
Is he going to come back again?
Yeah, that's probably. Yeah, I was genuinely shocked by a couple of okay, not shocked, but I forget about a couple of the death scenes here. Heimdall dies in this.
Who?
Heimdall.
Oh right,
Keeper of Asgard.
Oh right, yeah, of course. I forgot. Sorry, I just think Idris Elba. I didn't realise that was his name.
Heimdall dies in this.
That was.
There's one death which first is effective, but then after that, because again, Tom Holland's character also dies in this.
Yeah.
And it's very effective, but it's a really sad scene. But you've already ordered a sequel for next year.
Exactly.
And it's what's even weirder is that the timeline is kind of messy because this is apparently taking place this year or last year, and Homecoming is taking place 8 years after the Avengers, which is 2020.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't realise that.
Did you never notice this?
No, I haven't watched Homecoming.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine.
Homecoming takes place 8 years after it, and I'm unless Homecoming takes place after these events, this suddenly is a little messy.
I assume they were just generally chronological, unless they made a point of this is set in the 90s, which is obviously what they're going to do.
Yeah, speaking of that, the end credit scene, Captain Marvel.
Yeah, it's confirmed the theory I had with my brother that they're going to do something to do with time travel, obviously, and Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel or whoever it is.
Captain Marvel, who's now Woman.
Yeah, I think she's sometimes gone under Miss Marvel, but basically that character is going to do something, go forward in time. You're gonna have all the, and it's
not a bad choice, Brie Larson as Captain Marvel.
No, it's not.
I thought, I like Brie Larson.
I like Brie Larson.
I find it she's one of those people, a bit like I was saying about Donald Gleason, who I feel I've seen her career sort of progress as kind of as I've grown up. Because I sort of remember seeing her in Scott Pilgrim, you know, like she was Envy Adams, and then Room was the film which obviously made her a massive star. But for me,
I haven't seen Shorm Turn 12.
Yeah,
which I hear is amazing.
Free Fire as well, like all these films.
Free Fire,
yeah, I love that. Yeah. But yeah, and stuff like that where you're like, oh yeah, she was Envy Adams once, you know. No, but yeah, I think so. I feel like I have an idea of what the next film's going to be.
This is completely unrelated, but I'm probably one of the few people who never wanted Michael Cera as Scott Pilgrim.
Who would you have had?
As a guy who's read all the Scott Pilgrim comics.
Same. I thought it was pretty cool.
If he was like, if you could somehow make him 24, Charlie Day.
Charlie Day.
Yeah, from It's Always Sunny.
Yeah. No, that would have been good. I feel like almost if he was a bigger star at the time, yeah, I think they probably would have gone.
Just give Charlie Day just a blonde wig, and you would be fine.
I thought you would. Scott Pilgrim has brown hair.
He has brownish blondish hair. It's like because there's the Charlie editions too.
I think. Oh right, yeah. I thought it was kind of just brown. I think Charlie Day. Yeah, that would have been quite.
With Charlie Day now trying to be more of an actiony stuff with Hotel Aramis on the way.
Oh yeah.
He's trying to be like more of this gangster character now, and even with Pacific Rim Uprising.
But yeah, that would have been quite cool. But I don't know. I think Michael Cera kind of was pretty.
Like Scott Pilgrim's awkward, but he's not Michael Cera awkward.
No, I mean, I think, and I know the biggest complaint a lot of fans had was about the ending because obviously it was very different to the comic.
But also,
you've got to bear in mind
they didn't make him as much of a dickie as he is in the comics.
No, but I think what you've got to bear in mind, the problem was with the ending was that the director, the writers didn't know what the ending was because obviously the second one hadn't come out yet. So
no, it literally come out.
It hadn't come out yet. I swear.
It hadn't come before the movie.
I thought it hadn't. Well, just before the movie came out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was
time to change it.
Yeah. So I thought. No, I thought the whole point.
It's
was
pretty
that
much the sixth one's ending. Anyway.
I thought the whole. No, I thought the whole point was that they knew that Brian Lee O'Malley told them that he wanted Ramona and Scott to stay together, but he didn't want them to. But he didn't tell them the specifics of because they sort of. The outcome's the same, but the actual the fight and what happens and stuff is very different. Yeah, and fans complain about that. That's because Brian Lee O'Malley didn't tell them what it was going to be. Yeah. So I don't think that's their fault.
They also missed out all the stuff with Knives' dad, which was one of the best bits of the comics.
But I felt like I think when you adapt 6 comics into one film, you're going to have to cut bits.
I literally didn't want a live action movie. I wanted a Scott Pilgrim animated TV show.
I was going to say
every episode was 2 hours and it was the comic.
I thought
they should have done something like that. Some of these comic. I love Edgar Wright. I really do. Yeah, he does a really good job.
I thought it was.
I love Edgar Wright, but
that's one of those. Now we're talking about nostalgia. That's one of them for me.
Yeah.
No, I liked it. I mean, there were talks about doing a bloody sequel, and I was like, why? Like, I felt like that would have. I do think there are some movies where they're culty films, and it's a shame they maybe didn't do as well, and stuff like that and Dread. But I don't think I don't think you need a sequel to them. I feel like they're perfect just on their own as a little self-contained, especially in a world of cinematic universes.
Yeah, I would love to see a Dread TV show with Carl Urban and Olivia Thirlby. Both of those did really good.
I genuinely think Olivia Thirlby, and this is I remember Jeremy Johns saying this. Olivia Thirlby would have been a perfect casting for April O'Neil in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles films. Just change her hair colour. She looks the part, and and she can do action films and stuff as Dread shows. No, I thought that would have been.
No, awesome. we get Megan Fox.
Yes, well, exactly. No, but
no disrespect to her. It's just I don't think she was the right choice.
She's just a terrible actor.
Well, yeah,
it's probably a nice person, just a terrible fucking actor.
Yeah.
No. And here with again getting back to Infinity War with this with the comic related stuff, I think a lot of the stuff feels like a perfect mixture of a comic book and a film.
Yeah,
something I feel like video game movies, and with to make a comparison with comic book movies, they should create their own sense that they are the source material, but what if they were a film? It's the same thing that when we saw the Tomb Raider movie, I felt, me personally, I understand that people have problems with it, but me, it felt like a film in with the game's storyline, and I feel like it balanced it just fine enough for me for it to be an okay adventure movie, but still feel like it was a Lara Croft.
I mean, related to what we were talking about the Scott Pilgrim thing. I know people will always have their issues with how things are adapted, but I think what people have to realise is that when the key word is that it's an adaptation.
Yeah.
It's not an imitation. So you're adapting something for a different.
Sorry. So someone just came in. But yeah, we're doing that for an adaptation.
But yeah, you're adapting something for a different medium. So things are going to have to change. And because. What can happen is that, for example, you can try and make it too much like a comic book, so you end up getting like Ang Lee's Hulk, where the transitions.
Yes.
Where because obviously intentions were good, it wants to make it look like a comic book because it's based on a comic book, but you got to remember it's a film.
Yeah. And in addition to that, it was also too ambitious.
Well, yeah, it just wasn't a very good film anyway. But
in respect.
Well, yeah, but that's.
Stop staring at that bush and hit something.
Well, yeah, it's like. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing.
I mean, I think that movie was inherently flawed because I love Ali as a director. He's directed some great stuff like Eat, Drink, Man, Woman,
Brokeback
Mountain. But it's like, you don't hire Ang Lee to make a movie about a giant green guy who goes around punching things.
Yeah, I always think it was a bizarre choice.
That's the same problem I have with Assassin's Creed. They got Justin Kurzel to direct it, and he's a really good director. But you don't get a guy who's making brutal, dark dramas to do an Assassin's Creed movie that's supposed to be an action adventure.
It's like Ang Lee directing the Hulk is like hiring Andrei Tarkovsky to do fucking Bad Boys. It just doesn't work.
Can you imagine? That's why I'm interested to see. They've done that sequel to World War Z, where David Fincher's directing it, and I'm not saying it's going to be bad, but that does not strike me as a David Fincher film to do. In fairness, some of the films he's done, I wouldn't.
He did Alien 3.
Well, I was gonna. Well, yeah. Oh, yes, the film he's forever disowned and completely regretted. Yeah, so that doesn't really make the case, does it?
But it starts his name on it.
No, I'm just but I'm saying the fact that he's done that, but he clearly didn't like it, shows it just doesn't strike me. And also that was his first film, so I felt like David Fincher hadn't established his style. Now that he has, I'm not saying directors can't do different films with their styles, because obviously something like Benjamin Button isn't very, but to take this very kind of artsy, guy who does a lot of very intelligent films, very. I'm not saying World War Z won't be intelligent, but to do this big blockbuster action movie is quite. It's just quite. It just makes me wonder. It doesn't strike me as the sort of film we do. It might be good, but it doesn't strike me as the sort of film we do.
I really respect directors who do multiple things.
Yeah,
it's like how Robert Wise directed the Omen. Did he direct Omen?
I think he did.
Or horror.
The 70s or the remake?
The 70s.
Yeah, the 70s Omen.
Because he also did Sound of Music. He also did.
He fucking did, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he did Star Trek. The original.
Yes, the original, the very first movie. And he also did.
Insane.
He also did West Side Story.
Oh my god!
I love directors who do that. Even more mediocre ones. That's making money. Mark Foster.
Yeah.
He directed Finding Neverland, World War Z, The Kite Runner. Yeah, The Kite Runner. The Kite Runner.
Yeah.
Then he went on to do Machine Gun Preacher, and now he's doing Christopher Robin.
Yeah.
This is a range of a director that I can respect.
I love the cultural exchange there was when Kenneth Branagh directed 4, and Joss Whedon then directed his own version of Much Ado About Nothing. Because obviously Kenneth Branagh does his Shakespeare films and stuff, and obviously Joss Whedon's Joss Whedon. So I loved how in one year they kind of swapped and were just I always would like to imagine that they were both going to do Joss Whedon was going to do Thor and Kenneth Branagh was going to do Much Ado, and then they thought, you know what? Hey, do you want to swap around and see what happens?
This is directed. Speaking of directors, this is directed by the Russo brothers, who did Winter Soldier, Civil War. They're also gonna do, spoilers, a sequel to this. They've announced this.
Oh, okay.
Right after. I think this was after. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this was after Age of Ultron when they announced the entire Phase 3, and they announced 2 Infinity War movies. And after that, they were like, no, it's just Infinity War. But there's still a sequel in development.
So I'm interested, what are they going to call this one or whatever? I mean,
Infinity War Part 2.
But then why do they bother not having Part 1? This is what I don't get. I almost feel like, do they just want to discourage people from it being part of them thinking it was going to be Part 1? Or I don't know, weird. I don't wonder what their choice was for that.
Yeah. The design of this movie, the CGI is amazing.
Yeah.
This is one of the best looking CGI movies out there. And I love the way they designed the Infinity Stones. Are these accurate as much as they can?
Yeah, they're pretty, like, they lift entire panels from, like, the Infinity Gauntlet.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's, like, a few of them that is, like, directly inspired.
Nice. I love how it tells you a lot how far superhero movies have come. Wait, when was Green Lantern?
2011.
Yeah. 2011. Oh, okay, maybe not so much because that's the thing. I love how you compare because obviously all of Iron Man's suit is obviously CGI, but I love how you compare how realistic it's always been compared to shit like the Green Lantern suit, and you're like.
Still, the 2008 effects still hold up in that.
And I love, it's amazing how, people can say, oh yeah, well CGI, it's really difficult to do stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, in the fucking 90s maybe, but not in 2011,
I think the problem with a lot of CGI, and there's a really good video about this called Why CG Sucks Except It Doesn't, which it says that the problem is the time constraints. Because while it's not like, you're just using the computer, it takes time to draw, animate, and to make lifelike.
The problem is, it's when directors decide to use CGI because they assume it's an easy way out of it. When obviously it's not, because then people just throw CGI on. Whilst, like with anything, if you take your time with it, with puppets or models or whatever, you take your time with it and make it look good. It looks good.
People love to praise Fury Road about its practicalness, and absolutely, it's full of practical masterpieces. But there's a lot of CGI in that movie. There's a lot actually. It's a mixture of both. Even Michael Bay does this. As much as we can shit on his storytelling and stuff like that, but he knows how to make something feel like it's actually there.
Oh yeah.
Even in Transformers, I feel like I'm actually looking at robots standing in front of me, and he knows how to combine. And he's not doing that bullshit thing that I'm sometimes saying that they do fake CGI explosions. He actually does a real life explosion.
Which is
as silly as they are, are actually there.
No, yeah. Christopher Nolan again. He's another brilliant example. I love how you have all these I don't know. It's CGI. It's a weird thing because I feel like it's the problem where people assume you can just do anything with it, but you've got to bear in mind with anything, it's just if you care about something, it'll be better basically.
By the way, this CGI stuff I just said is from that video. So if you're watching this, look up this CG sucks except it doesn't. This is where I got my information. I just said about Michael Bay and Fury Road. It is a really good video and talking about CGI and getting from that. Even in this, it looks great. Yes, you can tell most of this was filmed on a green screen, but it is really good. These worlds to nowhere. It took a while for me to realize the joke there, but it is really done well. This realized world is really, really good.
I love how you have these people taking these creating these whole worlds out of CGI, and they're in the MCU, and then I feel like we're shitting on the DCU quite a lot in this one.
It sucks.
But then you have CGI in Justice League, where the moustache with Henry Cavill.
I don't think it was that bad, but it's obvious.
I just feel I know he's saying, I was filming another movie, but it's just fucking shave it. I just don't understand. If you can grow a moustache, grow another one. I don't know. I just feel like that. Just the fact that you have people doing all this time and really, really making the use of this amazing technology, and then you have, for some movie starter, I can't be bothered to shave my moustache. Can you CGI it out for me? It's kind of, I don't know. I feel like the innovators of CGI would be a bit really, John Lasseter must be what's this guy doing?
Something that is that. Oh, let's get a little bit nerdy. And everyone has been making jokes about this video on Twitter, but I'm just gonna say it. Not at one moment either Robert Downey Jr. or Benedict Cumberbatch goes up to the other and says, "No shit, Sherlock."
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Not once.
Yeah, you think that might have been.
I hope you're saving it for the sequel because.
At least they can only say shit twice.
Well, yeah, it's PG-13, but
I feel like they can use one of them up for that.
I love how you can say the word shit and bitch, but you can't say the F-bomb. It's like in Rampage, where The Rock said "son of a..." Right after he makes a censored motherfucker, a couple of minutes later, he says "son of a bitch."
Yeah, I don't know. It is interesting. That's a whole debate about language, isn't it, and stuff, I suppose. But no, it is a weird one. But yeah, that would be quite a funny thing if they made some reference to that. Yeah, oh yeah, those Robert Downey Jr.
That's a golden moment, miss.
Yeah.
Those Benedict Cumberbatch and Robert Downey Jr. They say, well, all that's missing is Tommy Lee Miller coming in nowhere. Who would he be?
That's another.
That's a good point, actually. I don't know.
I just realised that's another thing that I did like about it was I was worried there was going to be an over because in a lot of these Marvel films, as in a lot of movies, generally, you have your archetype characters that you kind of need for it to be a, you have your set types of characters. Yeah. For example, Guardians of the Galaxy, you have the douchebag protagonist. You have Star-Lord. In the Avengers, you have Iron Man, you have Tony Stark. I was worried a little bit when going into it that there was going, especially in the scenes where they meet up, there was going to be almost an overdouche, like an overload, but there wasn't, which I liked. I felt like, obviously they butted heads because they were both the cocky cocks, but it wasn't obnoxious or it wasn't tedious.
Yes, that's true. Sometimes there is a sort of like personality, like there are some characters who pretty much, as the honest trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy pointed out, they are like copies of each other.
Yeah. I was worried that was going to be the case, but no, I felt
it does a really good job. It's something that's one last thing to say is that not one last thing to say, but some of the jokes here were really really clever. As much as I didn't like that millennial joke, have you ever seen that really old movie Alien? And I'm like,
no, I thought that was quite funny though.
Aliens is quite old.
It is.
It's 32 years old.
It is. Okay, maybe it's
and again, that's like more than our lifetimes. That's
And this is maybe just me about Spider-Man, but as someone who thinks he's a nerd, he's a geek.
Well, he is.
Well, that's what he is. But I don't think he would say to someone. I don't think he would assume. This is just me. I don't think he would assume that Tony Stark doesn't know what Alien is.
Maybe. Yeah. No, that's fair. But I think for the sake of the joke, it was pretty funny.
Sorry. That was my problem. That's my only major complaint about Spider-Man in these movies. But I love him. I'm starting to really like Tom Holland now. But I really like it.
I thought that was quite funny. Though.
But it's a funny joke. Oh, speaking of which, the side the secondary villains in this, one of them, the main guy. This is like a calm talking villain that is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Like the way he speaks, I really wish. Spoilers, but he dies rather in like the first act.
Oh, was he the guy torturing Doctor Strange? Oh, right, yeah.
I wish he did more stuff because he was so cool.
He was pretty cool. He reminded me of a mix of, the banker aliens in Star Wars with the big heads, the nuns or whatever they're called.
Oh, God.
A mix of them, and have you ever watched Our Friendly Invisibles?
No. Yeah, I saw that as a kid.
Yeah, well, David Bowie voices the bad guy in it, a guy called Balthazar.
Oh, Friendly Invisibles. Oh, yeah.
Balthazar, yeah. Fucking Luc Besson. What the fuck happened?
Luc Besson directed that. That was my childhood.
But he reminds me of a mix of those two. Me and Lois were saying actually.
Maltazar, yeah. Yeah, he actually.
But no, it was kind of a shame. Yeah, I felt like that, and spoiler for Black Panther here, but similar thing. I felt they wasted some very good villains in both of these films in the way they got rid of that guy, and also in Black Panther they got rid of both Ulysses Claw and Kilgrave, which I felt was a shame because both of them could have potentially made, been perfectly done in sequels or something. Or
I would have loved Michael B. Jordan.
Michael Moore.
Offering the Invisible is a surreal experience.
I would have loved Michael Moore in MCU. No, that would have been great. No.
What else is there? This is I do like these small little relationships they set up. This may seem a little weird, but I do like Pepper Potts in these. I do like as much as she gets a lot of hate I don't know, or she's just
I don't really hate her. I mean, I felt she was a bit
she just does a lot of really stupid shit.
I just felt I didn't really. I must admit, I don't really. Yeah. I don't know. I can't remember. When was the last one she was actually in? Apart from this one.
He was in the end of Homecoming.
Yeah.
But as of fully, it was Iron Man 3.
Yeah. See, so I suppose I don't know. I feel like kind of her arc and with Tony Stark is kind of over in a way. I feel like there's not much more to do with that character. Really.
And even the other stuff, Liv Tyler doesn't even come back anymore from
the. Oh yeah, that was a thing, wasn't it?
Like he was Betsy Ross.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Betsy Ross.
Oh, by the way, Ross is actually his father is actually in this.
Oh yeah. Was it the same actor?
Yeah,
No.
Brian.
Oh no, it is.
It's
William
the same.
Hurt.
He's
quite
ever
cool.
since Incredible, it's still the same guy.
Yeah.
See, that's quite cool.
He returned in Civil War.
Yeah, no, you're right.
The original
Yes.
Hulk's got Sam Elliott as Thunder Ross, which is actually a genius piece of casting.
That
in
is.
the comics, he does look like Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott, yeah. No, that's cool.
Or in Ghost Rider.
Oh yeah, it's in two Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Sam Elliott and Nick Cage and Peter Fonda are like the three good things about Ghost Rider.
Oh yeah. No, oh yeah, Ghost Rider, that was a thing, wasn't it? Like
2007, that's the same thing.
God.
That was actually a fucking amazing movie.
Oh yeah.
It's a terrible film, but it's great at the same time.
Hey, you get Nicolas Cage as a
Ghost Rider.
who's on fire.
Yeah.
He's literally
How
the
is that?
spawn of the devil.
They haven't really they haven't brought him in yet, have they? I wonder if they'll do that.
They did do Ghost Rider in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show.
Oh, okay.
They did reboot Ghost Rider too.
Cool.
But like,
He's
he's kind of hard to put in this sort of thing, because if you're gonna have Ghost Rider to me, you have to make it as like adult as possible.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know what's all these like obscure characters. Like I think in the Runaways, there's Squirrel Girl.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I really want her to come back in the end. To be in
Question.
the X-Men.
Since you're in the comic book, how did they come up with these weird ones? Squirrel Girl, Ant-Man.
I didn't really read Marvel Squirrel Girl as a kid because they've only like in the new Marvel universe, like how they've redone the couple, like they've rebooted the Marvel universe again. She's more prominent, but Marvel like had to come up with a lot of characters to shift units every week. So everyone just kind of threw random shit at a wall and see what stuck. And
As far as it goes,
one of them
Squirrel Girl's pretty awesome, I'm not going to lie. I've wanted to read some of her stuff, because I mean, that's the thing, people always think she's kind of like a joke, but she's like really powerful. She's been able to like beat like some like really famous like Marvel villains and stuff, like...
Yeah.
But no, it'd be great to have... I always imagine if they did anything with her, it could become almost like another like almost like another Guardians kind of thing, or another like a Deadpool, like that kind of like kind of comedy.
I've yet to see the Runaways show, but I hope it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Oh, but one last thing before we end.
Yeah.
For the future, do you think that we're eventually gonna get Fantastic Four and the X-Men rebooted?
Yeah.
Do you think that we're gonna get them in the MCU?
People will want them. B, Marvel will be happy to have them back.
Now that Disney bought Fox.
Yeah, and C, they have to redeem the fuck up that wasn't from Phantom Force did.
I think
poor Josh Trank.
That was his fucking fault, partly.
I'm almost certain that they'll definitely reboot Fantastic Four, because not only is that one of the
Marvel's first family.
Marvel's first.
Exactly. So
Four times.
Yeah.
Four.
Oh, how appropriate.
Fifth time lucky.
Yeah.
Like the first one is a '90s movie that was never even.
At least the
Nice.
Thing looks like the Thing.
Yeah.
At least Reed Richards looks like Reed Richards.
And then there's the Tim Story ones.
I quite liked those ones.
I do enjoy.
I remember watching them as a kid. I don't know how well they've how well they've
I'm sure they.
I remember thinking they were quite good.
Michael Chiklis was quite a good casting for the film.
I did, but no. And then I just feel like X-Men. I'm not too sure about, because I feel like at the moment, firstly, they've got quite a lot of. They're almost still, in a way. I mean, they kind of. I feel like when you introduce time travel, it's one of those things where I feel like almost anything can go, and you can kind of reboot stuff but still say, oh, it's just a different timeline in the same universe.
Yeah, the universe by Fox is so convoluted.
I know. So
I
feel
like the X-Men. It's so inconsistent. Like you know how Banshee is in First Class.
Oh yeah.
Apparently, her daughter is in X2. Siren, you know that girl who screams really loud in X2.
Okay.
That's supposed to be his daughter.
So that's the thing.
Or something like that. I think that's what.
Yeah. That's the thing. I genuinely think that at the moment you can just. I feel like Fantastic Four definitely, but X-Men not so much. I feel like they've got almost enough to go at least for a while, because they've got the sort of the X-Men First Class version of them. They've got the new
that's what they're gonna do with Dark Phoenix.
Yes, exactly.
They're gonna use that.
They've got that,
which is alright.
No, it's fine. I love them.
I like Ty Burrell as Cyclops, and I do like everyone there.
Ty Burrell as Cyclops.
Isn't it Ty Sheridan?
Ty Sheridan.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Ty Burrell, Phil from Modern Family.
Sorry.
No, that'd be amazing.
So Ty Sheridan true.
No, it's
I
fine.
do like that guy. They got as Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
Alan Cummings was amazing in X2, but I do like that guy.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I genuinely think that they've got a while for X-Men before that gets any sort of reboot. But no, Fantastic Four, I think they almost certainly will. But it deserves it. It deserves finally to get a good movie.
Who would you cast for Fantastic Four? Now,
Emily Blunt and John Krasinski.
Krasinski, nice. What as Mr. Fantastic?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And then probably would have.
That's cool.
Who do I get as Human Torch?
The Quiet Place 2.
Human Torch is quite a hard role to cast. I'm just trying to think of somebody who Marvel hasn't tried to cast yet.
Well, we can't have Chris Evans as a double role.
He wasn't even like. I'm just trying to think.
Charlie Day. Only because we mentioned him before. That could be quite funny though.
I'm
on fire!
I'm just trying to fucking think who would be a really good Human Torch. This is going to drive me nuts. For the Thing, I would probably get. Would I get The Rock?
That would be appropriate.
It would sort of work, but he's in fucking everything.
Yeah. I wanted to say Dave Bautista, but he's already in.
Yeah, he's already in.
Some sort of wrestler or something.
If they literally got Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar.
That's the thing, that'd be kind of cool.
That'd be cool. And who would you have for, well, I was about to say Victor Von Doom, but I just realised that's just a film thing. Doctor Doom.
Well, his actual name is Victor Von Doom.
Is it actually? I thought that was just a thing they did in the
No,
films.
it's his real name.
Oh, all the critics and stuff have been complaining, saying because they were like, why would you have somebody
His name in the comics is literally Victor Von fucking Doom.
Then okay.
Michael Fassbender is Doom.
Okay. No, because all the because what I found is all the videos and stuff saying were like, oh my god, why would you give him such a silly name? He's not a family friend of the Richards or whatever, all that kind of thing. But okay, in that case, that's his name. Fair enough.
Michael Fassbender would be an amazing. Just literally Michael Fassbender, not in the shitty Doom costume from Fan Four Stick. It's the proper fucking Doom.
I don't know what's Fan Four Stick. Is it?
I've seen CGI Doctor Doom.
Oh
Jesus Christ!
No, probably
Toby Kebbell,
like a metal outfit.
Toby Kebbell, man, you need to get a better agent.
Is it in the comics that because in the
he's
films,
a master of sorcery.
No, I was gonna say in the films how he gets is the whole metal thing, is that just armor, or is that fused to his body, or
it's armor, but he uses it to hide his disfigurements.
Oh, okay, cool.
Because he made an experiment which badly disfigured him.
Okay, cool.
And he travelled the world searching for a cure, using a face a mask to obscure his face.
Okay. I remember watching it and it was the idea he'd been fused without his consent kind of thing.
Now that we got Fantastic Four, since we were eventually after they are done with the Phoenix storyline, eventually we're gonna get a reboot to the MCU. Who would you have?
Was in the X-Men movie?
Yeah. Who would you have?
It depends on how many X-Men characters you could start off with, because everyone sort of knows them, so you don't really have to do an origin movie again.
I really hope not.
Who would I have as Wolverine?
That's why I'm glad with Spider-Man in the MCU I didn't bother, because
since Tom Hardy's not going to be available.
Tom Hardy's Wolverine would have been cool, but yeah.
If they gave him makeup, I'm just trying to think of someone who fits the height. That's the problem. Not necessarily exactly the height, but under 5'10". This is really fucking difficult.
I feel like should be a whole review in itself.
Yeah, let's talk about that as another time. Yeah. That would be our dream casting.
I'll have to come back to you on that.
Right. That and Fantastic Four, we'll have to have a thing.
Yes. Overall, all of these characters are really fun. Chris Evans as Captain America. He doesn't get to do much in this. If there's one thing, he was rather underused here. That's probably one of my main problems. Some of the characters don't get as much focus. It is uneven. You will get some characters who get more focus. Scarlet Witch and Vision, they get more here. They actually get a really good storyline here. Vision dies. You kind of.
Yeah, he's not coming back.
There's no way he's coming back.
I genuinely, one of my predictions is that obviously Miss Marvel's going to play a big part, and also I think they're maybe going to have to do a swap thing, and I feel maybe with some of the characters, a swap thing, as in they're going to have to swap the characters who have turned into flakes. So they're gonna the ones that are gonna come back, people like Black Panther, Spider-Man, whatever. So I think what's gonna happen is, if that's the case, is characters Captain America, who again I feel their arc's kind of been finished and stuff, and it sounds like the sort of the noble thing he would do, give his life, you know, swap for somebody else kind of thing, maybe, you know. I feel like that would be.
I don't know how many more times Chris Evans really wants to do it.
Well, exactly. I've heard he'll want to, so that would be the again. You know, it makes sense. It would solve his arc. Noble thing for the character to do. Chris Evans doesn't really want to do it much more. It makes sense, you know, to get rid of him. So maybe that'll happen. I don't know. But yeah.
All right. So thanks for watching this. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
we would love to do some more stuff. Deadpool's coming out next week.
Yeah.
Deadpool 2.
Yeah, we have to.
We'll see how we're gonna do with that, but. Deadpool 2 is coming, and later Venom later this year.
Of course.
And we have a lot of stuff coming up.
Like, cool.
Maybe we'll see around.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching this. Thanks for coming. This was really awesome.
Cool.